Marketing is hard. But I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't have to be. Let me point something out. You're listening to a podcast right now, and it's great. You love the host. You seek it out and download it. You listen to it while driving, working out, cooking, even going to the bathroom. Podcasts are a pretty close companion. And this is a podcast ad. Did I get your attention? You can reach great listeners like yourself with podcast advertising from Libsyn Ads. Choose from hundreds of top podcasts offering host endorsements, or run a pre-produced ad like this one across thousands of shows to reach your target audience in their favorite podcasts with Libsyn Ads. Go to libsynads.com, that's Libsyn, ads.com today.
Hey there, this is Dennis Anyone with Dennis Hensley. It's a podcast about making things up and making things happen. I love talking to creative people, and today my guest is a singer and a songwriter and an actor, David Hernandez. He first burst onto the scene in American Idol. I believe it was season 7. He made it to the final group, but then got eliminated pretty quickly. And then there were stories in the media that were outing him. And it was sort of like he got the exposure of American Idol, but then everything kind of blew up. And so it was interesting to talk to him about that time. And he has a new video out called Beautiful 2.0 with Mila Jam is the feature on it. And it's a new version of a song that he put out 10 years ago about self-acceptance. And so this is sort of like a 10-year revisit to these themes. And he's also acting. He was in a horror movie called Glamping. He does a lot of vertical acting as well. So it's just really fun to talk to him. He's been on my radar since Idol. And we're both Arizona boys. Although I forgot to ask him about green chili, which is my favorite thing about Mexican food in Arizona, and you can't get it in California. But anyway, before I get to the interview with David, I want to remind you that this podcast is brought to you by me. So if you want to support it, there are some things you can do. Go to DennisAnyone.net, leave a tip in my virtual tip jar. I always appreciate that. I also have a Patreon and Substack sequel podcast, spin-off podcast called Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay. I end every 30-minute episode with a little nugget about happiness, what the science shows, little tips, tricks, things I'm thinking about. I find that topic very interesting. And so you can search for Dennis Hensley's Happy and Gay on Patreon or Substack. It's $5 a month. I do it once a week, and it's fun. And I thank the people that have already subscribed. I really appreciate it. You can also become a subscriber to DNR Studios. I'm part of a group of shows under Derek and Romaine's podcast Empire. And for a monthly fee, you get my show early and all these other great queer shows. So dnrstudios.com. And finally, I invented another party game, Search Party. And right now, the only way to get it is through the website. So go to youdon'tknowmylife.com/search party, and you can order a game. It's really fun. It's like searching for pictures on your phone in a kind of Cards Against Humanity structure. And it's outrageous and fun, and I'm really proud of it. So, all right, enough of the plugs. Here now is my interview with David Hernandez. Joining me now from West Hollywood on a beautiful rainy day, it's David Hernandez. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. The pleasure is all mine.
I am enjoying the video for Beautiful 2.0, which you launched on Valentine's Day. That was sort of the hook for doing this interview. But as I was going through different things about your background, I was like, I have so much in common with this guy. Arizona, you're from Arizona, right?
Yeah, born and raised.
Yeah, I was born in Holbrook. I went to Arizona State. Did you go to ASU or U of A?
I did. I went to both.
You went to both?
I went to both.
Yeah.
Yeah. I started off at U of A. I got a full ride out of high school.
Right
and
on.
then I realized that being a doctor was probably not going to be in the cards for me. And so I transferred back to ASU, and my major was broadcast journalism. I was at the Walter Cronkite School.
Me too. I graduated from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Communications. And
That's crazy. Yeah.
I remember Cronkite might have come and spoke when I was there. Like, I'm a good deal older than you, but I remember.
Did he really? That's cool.
I have this memory of it, and somebody said, "Why did you choose this school?" Or, why this? And he's like, "They're the first people that asked me. They're the only people that asked me." So ASU was on top of it. But yeah, I did little video projects, and that was I was doing theater, but broadcasting was my degree. So there you go.
Yeah, I did. Did you ever do the Sun Devil News?
I did have a radio show on KASR, the student radio station, but that was like you were playing indie music. You were playing Suzanne Vega and stuff like that.
Sure.
So I didn't do like the news thing. But
I did the news
that?
thing for like a semester, and I remember it was so competitive to get in there. I think I was on actual TV for maybe like 2 episodes, and then they had me like running wires, and I was like a grip basically the rest of the time. But I didn't actually graduate. I ended up dropping out to do American Idol. So interesting though, I really wanted to be a publicist for like big celebrities. I wanted to walk them down the carpet, and then I ended up being like on the other side of the carpet, which is, I don't know, I guess, you know, worked out. But like, yeah, that's crazy that we have that in common. How funny.
Did you stay in the dorms at ASU, or did you?
Yeah. I stayed in San Pablo dorms. They were kind of like the newer ones.
Yeah, I didn't know about those.
You were long gone before then, but it was right behind Manzanita.
Yeah, Manzanita. Which they called that the whorehouse in the sky, which is so misogynistic. Did they still call it that? It was a very tall building.
Yeah, I had a lot of encounters in that building. Yeah, I had a lot of good times.
Oh, so there were guys staying there too, or girls, both? Or was it both?
Like I think it was both.
Oh,
I thought it was both.
All right, excellent. I'm glad. I'm happy for that.
Maybe they made it co-ed.
I think it was co-ed after you. We could spend the rest of the time going through all the restaurants that you would go to on the different days when it was like wing special or whatever to save money in college. But these people aren't here to hear that.
Oh my God, ramen noodles. That was my thing. I had a microwave in my room, so I would, that was my jam.
That was your jam. Tell me about the re-release of Beautiful, because this is a new version of a song that you released 10 years ago or so. So talk about the inspiration for that and how you approached the new project.
Yeah, sure. Well, I knew the 10 years was coming up, so I wanted to do something special for it, but I didn't want to like, you know, just like re-release it with new vocals on it. I kind of just wanted to give like a new spin on it. It wasn't like this is not a remix. And I wanted to make that clear. Like this was very much like a reimagined version of it with a new producer, new vocals, and a feature on it, which is Mila Jam. And we really, you know, for when I recorded Beautiful in 2016, it was all about like, I don't know, at the time I thought I loved myself, or I thought I felt that I was beautiful. But then in retrospect, like I was really just starting to scratch the surface about just like discovery and like all the things I've been through in the last decade. I would have never known that this is where it would have led me. But for this particular one, it has a lot to do with just like standing in your power and like protecting your space, your boundaries, and just being like firm in like who you are as a person as much as you can be. Cause we're all, you know, life is like a never ending journey of discovering that. But like for this particular version of Beautiful, I think I've come so far. I'm almost 2 years into sobriety. I've survived a pandemic. We all have. And it just felt like sort of like like a new found strength. And I wanted people to feel that too, because I feel like culturally and emotionally, like we've all really shifted as a society since the pandemic. Like who gets to say that they, I don't think it's like a great thing. It's not like a badge of honor, but like that they survived a pandemic. It's kind of like a weird thing to all share.
Yeah.
And so I think anybody who came out of that, which not everybody did, should be really, really proud of themselves for a lot of like new discoveries too. I think we all discovered things about ourselves that we didn't necessarily like think we were ever going to, or like forced us to like develop other skill sets, you know, during the pandemic. And so like that just like adds to your person. It adds to who you are. And, I think challenges always grow you. And I definitely have experienced my fair share of challenges in the last decade.
Yeah.
So that's what,
I was going back through your music videos and I was like, oh, he's been through some shit, you know, which we will get into. But there was a quote that you said about the original version of the video for Beautiful. You said, I need protection on camera then, and now I want to be seen fully. What did you mean by needing protection on camera? You just didn't feel comfortable on camera? Or that was interesting to me. Because you exude confidence. You look good. The production is good. Like it looks like, oh, that guy's feeling himself, but that wasn't the case. Thanks. It's a learned thing. I think it comes with experience and like growth over years and therapy and getting up and falling down and getting up and falling down over and over again. But I have never, since I started being on camera, I have never felt comfortable on camera until now. And I know that's interesting for people to try to understand, but
when I was first on camera in 2008 as this like little 23, barely turning 24 kid, I had never seen myself from so many different angles, and I didn't have any, you know, you don't have editing power, obviously. So like you see all the things, you know, like, and on top of that, what really, really hurts is that people talk about it. And so like before you even have a chance to sit with yourself in those angles or in that perspective or from that viewpoint, other people are telling you how you look already. So you're not getting this sort of like discovery for the first time on your own. You're having the rest of the world tell you how to feel about yourself. So that creates even more uncomfortability and more insecurity, and is like a breeding ground for, I mean, you name it, like addiction, sex, validation, you know, those sort of cravings. And so that, like, the more and more that I became on camera, especially like in the last like 6 years, the more I started like being okay with like what David looks like and all the different angles and variations of how I show up. And I think my acting career has helped immensely with that, because when you're in a movie with like, you know, so many other people, you don't get to be like, and I want a beauty filter on me in that scene. They're like, bitch, we don't do that. Like, you know, sorry. And you start to become, you know, like adjusted to it, but it was hard, man. Like, and it was so jarring in the beginning of being on TV. It was like, whoa. Like, I remember the one time they did this like fish lens on me when I was in the top, I think 12. And I hated that. And I told the photographer, I was like, please don't use that photo. And they used that photo the whole season.
That was your photo that you picked.
That was like the photo with the fish lens. And now I'm like, can we get a fish lens on this video? You know, I don't know. You know, it's weird. Yeah.
Did everybody get fish lenses, or was it just you, or was that like the aesthetic of that particular setup for?
I think it was the aesthetic. I think it was the aesthetic of that setup. They were like trying to retro like the 90s, like Missy Elliott look. I don't know. It was fine. But like, again, like going back to that quote is like, I did feel like I had to protect myself. I felt like every time I showed up on camera, I had to like be camera ready. I had to cover up the pimples. I had to make sure I was like presenting perfectly. Right. I had to be perfect. And now it's like, I don't know. I connect more to the imperfection when I see certain things. And I don't know. It's just, it's an evolution.
People that feel free and alive on camera are more interested. But talking about seeing yourself, like sometimes I would see videos when I was younger. I was like, oh, my hands are gay. I have gay hands. Fuck.
Yeah.
Or like whatever that thing is. But like those things where you're like, and you were at the time, you had just been thrust into the spotlight. I don't think you were out on the show at the time. So that must have been another level of policing. How do I look? How am I can't sit like this. I have to sit like this, right? Was that something you were thinking about?
Hell yeah. All the time.
Right.
Such a level of policing, which takes away from your moment. It takes away from being in the present, because you're just constantly worried about how people are seeing you. Yeah. Like you're thinking about how they're thinking about how you're thinking about how they're thinking about, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like, there's like vicious cycle. I was totally policing the whole time. And I remember even from picking out my wardrobe to like how they would do my makeup and style my hair. Like, was I holding the mic in an effeminate way? You know, like, it was very much. And then, you know, when the story broke about me being gay, it was just, it was so devastating at that time. And and then I went home like a week later, and it was hard to know whether it was because of that or because of my performance. Like, so that's forever embedded in your brain, right? Like you just never know. And you got to be okay with that. And it took years and years and years of therapy and now finally sobriety to like be okay with like not knowing or being able to control the outcome.
When I went back and looked at your Idol trajectory, I was like, oh shit, this guy got thrown into the spotlight and then sort of was out, and he had this scandal in the middle of it. You didn't go on tour. Like, it just seemed like a fucking minefield of like, oh, I got all the bad stuff and none of the good stuff that comes with that kind of exposure. Is that a fair assessment of what it felt like?
It is. And I felt like for a long time, I felt cheated, and I was sort of just victim of at the time, like the media and the scrutiny. And before cancel culture was a thing, like I was like the poster child for cancel culture at that time.
Right.
And I remember the only other person being in the headlines was Britney for the umbrella and the shaved head moment. And it was like me and her on CNN, you know, like swapping places. And I found it really interesting that like, that was such a topic of discussion, my sexuality. Like, why was that so important. And then you're right. Like I didn't go on the tour, and I was 2 slots away from going on the fucking tour.
Right.
And if you understand how much I had to give up just to be on that show for a year without a job, like I lost my apartment, I lost my car, I had no money. And so I was really looking forward to like at least making the top 10. Like if you would have told me I just made number 10, I would have been like, fine, at least I get to make a couple $100,000 on the tour. But then that didn't happen. And so I was like, why am I getting the shaft for like all this shit?
It feels
bad luck.
I can imagine being that age and being that young and just being like overwhelmed and feeling like I can't catch a break and like but now like people remember you were on American Idol. Like it's a hook into something. Did your relationship to the idea of being on that show change over time? Are you like able to look at it now in a different lens?
Yeah, it's kind of like the way that I look at my parents, to be honest. Like I had a really weird childhood, and I felt like really neglected early on. And like even through my teen years, I felt like abandoned a lot by like my dad, and like my mom was out of the picture. And, you know, they were both like, they divorced when I was younger. And so like, I always had this, like, I've always felt like super torn. And like, because I felt torn, I never felt like I got like the love that I really wanted or needed or deserved. And so like, I always had this resentment with my parents. And, throughout time, I've learned that, that resentment isn't up to them to alleviate or fix. It's up to me to do the work to change my perspective of how things went down. And that perspective has changed. I mean, my mom's my best friend. So is my dad. And like, we just have this beautiful relationship now separately and together. But with Idol, I felt almost the exact same way. I almost felt like betrayed. I felt like I gave up everything to be on this show. Like, you guys are supposed to be like my family and take care of me. Like, how could you let this happen? And then as I started doing more work and as years passed, I started realizing that holding on to this resentment, it never really hurt anybody but me.
Right.
And if I were to look at it from an objective standpoint, that this is a television show, everybody on that show was just doing the best they can with what they had in their own personal lives.
Right.
Then I started to really realize that like, this was like a machine. And I have to look at it like, wow, what an opportunity that I was given. And it sucks that it ended so shortly. I mean, nothing ever really ends up the way we plan it at the end of the day. But how cool that I was able to be a part of it, even for the few, you know, I don't know, it was like, I think it was like, I don't know, 6 or 7 episodes that I was actually on or something like that. But what a cool period in my life that sort of set the stage for the rest of it.
Yeah.
And so now that I can look at it like that, I'm much more in a healthy, I've been in a healthy spot with American Idol for a long time. I don't really have any bad things to say about it. My bad things to say and still say is the media. It's the way media handles young people. It's the way media handles people in general. So unforgiving. I mean, the ways that they would talk to women at that time and trans women and trans people and gay people and just in general, the way the media would be so invasive and so out of line. Like, I mean, it's just mind blowing. It would never happen the same way today.
Right.
But my biggest gripe about any of that was just the way that my personal, like my sexuality came out of somebody else's mouth and I wasn't given the opportunity to express that, you know?
Right.
But it had nothing to do with American Idol.
Right. And also that period of time in pop culture was so mean. It was the Perez Hilton. It was like I look back and it was the worst. Like it was really mean spirited. And I'm glad that has shifted a bit. Yeah,
totally. The ways they would ask women like, so are you a virgin?
Right. Just all that craziness.
It's like whose business? It would never happen that way today, but you live and you learn, I guess.
And you were on the same season as David Archuleta, who I follow and I'm a fan of because I appreciate his talent like yours. But also I was raised Mormon, so that connects with me. But you guys were both – do you remember connecting as friends or anything like that? You were both
Yeah.
What was the vibe like with you? Because he was young,
16.
Mormon. Like he had years to go.
I know.
You know?
He was a sweet kid then. He's still a sweet guy now. He you know, what can I say? 16 years old, you know, he had his dad as his chaperone. We were all living in the same hotel at first and then the same apartment complex at first. So we saw each other every single day, rehearsals, group numbers, filming days, like just always such a sweet kid. Always heard him rehearsing. He was also doing schoolwork in the other room on most days, you know, because again, like 16.
Right.
I just saw him earlier this month at a Grammy party, and I see him every year. We headlined Phoenix Pride together in 2024, October of 2024. I swear, I saw him when I saw him a few weeks ago. I was like, God, I see you everywhere. And he's like, I know. And I was meeting his crew, his stylist, and he was meeting mine. And it's interesting to see where like full circle moments bring you back. And it's great to see like how beautiful, what a beautiful young man he's become. And like just his style and his swag and like his sense of self. And like, it's all come together.
Yeah.
And that's just like really cool to see someone that you've known for almost 2 decades, just like, you know, just living their truth.
Yeah.
It's powerful. And I'm so proud of him. It's great.
Well, also, you know, from his story that he fought and fought and fought not to be gay. And then see him sort of flowering and, you know, performing and being sexy. And it's like, yes, because I relate to that kid. I was raised Mormon. So
you were raised Mormon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a deep connection right there. Y'all know some stuff that other people don't.
Well, I didn't go that far into like some of the temple stuff that he did, but anyway, when did you know you could sing? When did you know, I have a voice?
I was 6 in my mom's little 2-bedroom apartment, in Phoenix, and I would just run around the house while she played. She had a vinyl record player, so she played like Aretha, Temptations, Luther, Stevie,
right,
Journey, the Cranberries. Like she had, oh my gosh, she had Nirvana. Like she would just spin vinyls all day long. My mom loved to do that. Like on the weekends, especially, like she would just like play these vinyl records and clean. And, you know, I don't know. I just remember like the weekends being so fun with my mom. She just loved music and she loved art. She had all these like Nagels up around
remember
her
the
house,
Nagels?
you know, like the 90s Nagel.
You have to do a Nagel homage album cover.
I totally should.
Yes.
Like Jody Watley.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
She would, I don't know. I just remember it so vividly, and you know, the smells of that. I don't know. I would just always run around the house trying to emulate these singers. I think I always knew that I wanted to be one of them. I always had this deep feeling too of like not really belonging, like because I was so effeminate as a kid, and I didn't play sports. I loved theater, and I loved Barbies, and I loved doing girls' hair. Like I just always had these artistic expressions that I couldn't really act on in public, and so I always felt like, since I was a young kid, I always wanted to get out. Like I wanted to like fly away. And so my idea was like, well, if I get rich and famous, then I don't have to be here. You know, I can totally just be up in my castle somewhere making music, and nobody will care about me being gay because they'll just care about my music. Yeah. Of course, that was my little mind thinking, but
we all make those kinds of calculations, or we're all trying to figure things out.
The fantasies, right? The fantasy, yes. So that's how I knew I wanted to be a singer. Is that my mom would play vinyls, and I would try to replicate those singers.
What a gift, though, she gave you to have that kind of music in the house all the time. Like that's amazing.
Yeah, she still does. My mom is she's like a little witch, like a little like fairy witch. Like she, you know, she's just like that, like almost like a gypsy. Like her energy is just like, I don't know how to explain it.
I love it. Well,
she's magic.
In one of your songs, you write that she was 16, I think, when she had you. So you guys were kind of like friends more than parent child, right?
And I wrote that in I Am Who I Am, and then the re-release of it, which was I Am. My mom, she had me right when she turned 17. So her and my dad, they met, I think when she was like, 15. Or I don't know, it was in high school. And then, they fornicated, right, and they had me on her 17th year of her. Yeah. It was kind of crazy. And so her and I it was just like growing up together as friends. She was a kid who had a kid at the end of the day. Yeah. How the fuck do you do that? I couldn't even imagine having a kid now at my age. And she had it when she was barely even an adult.
What was she doing for money? What was she?
Oh my God. She worked at K Jewelers as the bill collector for a little while. She did all kinds of odd jobs, and usually it was like 3 jobs at a time. So I was like a latchkey kid too. Like I'd come home and she would be, you know, waiting tables or, you know, whatever it was she was doing at the time. I don't know. She made ends meet. That's for sure.
What was your mall in Phoenix? What was your hangout mall? Metro Center?
Oh my God, no, we had Fiesta Mall.
Fiesta Mall. Yeah, that's in Mesa.
Yeah, because that's where we lived.
Oh, so right on. Okay.
Fiesta Mall, and there was like Superstition Mall, which was like further east.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember Metro Mall.
Yeah, Metro Center was on the other side. It may be dead. It may be long dead.
Oh, Metro Center. Yeah. Wasn't that off the 17 or something?
Yeah, it was way on the other side. Yeah. Fiesta Mall was my jam as well.
Fiesta Mall.
Did you do like musical theater and stuff in school? Were you into that?
Yeah, so I did the Canterville Ghost, but I did it when I was 6. And that was my like first role that I booked. And then when I went, I moved with my dad when I was like 8. And so I didn't he was like, that household was very like machismo. And I had a stepbrother who played all kinds of sports. So like I never did musical theater.
Right.
I ended up playing all the sports. That was like my, I don't know, my straight boy era, I guess you could call it. It's horrible. I was terrible at all the sports. Yeah.
And you secretly wanted to do all of these other things. Like, I wasn't close with my father, but I did have it all. But I did feel like if I was into like hunting and fishing and stuff like that, he might have had more time for me or been interested in me or whatever. Like he wasn't the stuff that I was into. I knew was not good, not approved. You know?
Yeah. Same with me. Like I would go on the hunting trips with my dad, but I knew that I didn't look at him. I didn't look when he killed animals. I hated that.
I would have hated that.
Hated it. It traumatized me. I still remember one particular time, and I just hate even like recounting it. But yeah, I mean, I always knew that because I saw the thespians in high school, and I saw like the dance people, and I just wanted to be them so bad, but I just couldn't. The closest I got was a yearbook. I was on the yearbook staff, and then I was in student government. That was like the closest I got to like fulfilling my artistic fantasy. And that wasn't even close.
So after high school, when you start singing and you auditioned for American Idol, you must have made a shift to performing.
Yeah. Well, it was literally when I graduated at 17 and I moved into the dorms at U of A.
Right.
And that gave me this autonomy that I had never had.
Right.
And I was also on a full ride, so I didn't depend on my parents for any money. So I didn't have to answer to anybody at 17, which was cool for me.
Yeah.
And then I turned, 18 a few months later and went to ASU. And then it was just like game over. Like then I started recording hooks for rappers on the side. I started demoing original music. I started going to these open mic nights at coffee shops, and I was horrible. Like I had like the CD player, and I'd be like, play this instrumental. And I would just, I don't know, I wish I had video footage from that, 'cause I'm sure it was precious, but, that's when I started kind of getting, more experience and like fine tuning I started taking voice lessons. And so slowly I was kind of like weaning myself away from school, 'cause I just found so much joy in music. And then I auditioned for Arizona Idol. I made it to the top 2. And then that audition basically got me a fast pass to American Idol that year, which then the rest was history. So it was like a combination of like between like 18 and like 20, 22 and a half, 23 that I started like really getting the guts, the balls to like, maybe I could do this for a living.
Yeah. What's your favorite memory of Idol? What's the memory that was like, oh, that was a great part of it?
Oh, that's a really great question. I haven't thought about that in years. I think, there's 2. Hollywood Week was really incredible because I ran into people I knew there. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And it was like summer camp, right? We're all in the same hotel and we're like bouncing from room to room, singing till like 4 a.m.
Yeah.
That was cool. And then once you make it, a lot of people don't. And so you go on to the next level. So I think probably the next like incredible moment for me was the week that I sang Papa Was a Rolling Stone.
Yep.
And it was incredible, not because it was full of like sunshine and rainbows, because it was hard. That particular week, I was with Michael Orland and Dorian Hawley.
I know Michael.
Were the vocal. Yeah. And I remember, not like knowing what to sing. And they were like, it was literally, I'm not even kidding, like midnight or 1 a.m. And I was like one of the last people to get in the rehearsal space to figure out what my fucking song was.
Right.
And we're like, I was going to sing Dying to Live by Johnny Lang, and that didn't sound great. And then I remember Michael and Dorian being like, no, I'm sorry. Let me take that back. It was Michael and Bird, Deborah Bird, who's since passed, God rest her soul. But I remember being in the rehearsal space and then being like, well, what did you grow up on? Because I was crying at this point, by the way. Like, Dying to Live didn't work out. I didn't know what the fuck I was going to sing the next day. So I'm like, what? Oh my God.
The next day on the show.
And the next day on the show, like filming.
It's the night before you were going to be on TV singing nationally,
hours before.
And you don't know what song you're going to sing.
Correct. Because the other ones that I planned didn't work out.
Yeah.
So not only do we have to figure out a new song, but we have to make sure it gets cleared for licensing. It's 1 a.m.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. So they're like, what'd you grow up on? And I told them what I told you, like Temptations, Aretha. They're like, well, what Temptation song? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I love Papa Was a Rolling Stone, but that song's 9 minutes. And they're like, okay, whatever. You can cut it down. I'm like, you can? Okay. But it's like the key's not right. Well, you can change the key. I'm like, you can?
Yeah.
What? Like, you can do all these things?
Right. All this stuff. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's amazing. That's amazing to me.
It was so amazing. And so we figured out where it would sit in my voice. Oh my God, I remember this like it was yesterday. Where it would sit in my voice. And when he died. They're like, no, it's too high. Let's go down a half step. I'm like, how? I didn't know you could do this.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So you can make it like so it works for your voice. Mind blowing. So we ended up with the arrangement, which was like a minute and 25 seconds long. We got clearance for it. Thank God. And I sang it. And then we had to pick out what I was wearing for it, which also happened in between. So like we start rehearsal at like 8 a.m, right? It's 1 a.m. We figure out the song. So by now it's like 2:33 in the morning, go to bed for a few hours, wake up, have rehearsal. In between the taping and rehearsal, we're shopping on Melrose for an outfit.
They don't have like, you have to go to the fucking store. There's
like, you have to go to the fucking store. And I'm with Art Kahn, who's still my dear friend today. He's the stylist. We're on Melrose. I had never been to Melrose in my life. We have a $300 budget, which is like, what? It could have been $3,000 at that point. That's how much I needed. I thought $300 was everything. So we go to Melrose. I pick out the outfit and that was it. And then I performed it that night to a live audience of which my mom was in, my mom and my sister. And that was probably like, that was incredible. That's the long version of the story, but it's,
well, no, it's a great memory because you overcame something and you fucking rose to the occasion and it was great. You pulled it off. Like, I could imagine that feeling being like a great memory. Like,
I remember I also remember I had just gotten done being quarantined in a hotel in Burbank. Right. That Marriott across from the airport because I was deathly ill with a chest infection.
I live very close to that Marriott, by the way.
You live okay. So you know exactly where it's at. I was there for about a week until on antibiotics and everything. And so this all happened right after that. And when I got to sound check at 8 a.m, David Archuleta and his dad were there. And I had just gotten pumped full of steroids, right? Like those anti-inflammatories.
Right.
So I'm performing rehearsal, sing my balls off, and David's dad comes up to me and he goes, wow, if that's what sick does, I need Archie to get sick. That was so funny. And I was like, no.
No, you don't.
It's the steroids talking, trust. But it was funny. Yeah.
Looking through your past videos, you really explored the things that you were going through in these videos. There's one where that's set in a therapy session with Benji Swimmer, who I know from So You Think You Can Dance, and it's beautifully done. Like the choreography and that concept and that idea is so good. And then there's there's videos about addiction and getting sober and 12-step things like that.
Yeah.
What is it that makes you want to explore these things in your work like this? Does it feel risky? Does it feel, I'm more invested in that? Or, because I think there are some artists who are just like, you know what, I'm going to just sing a love song and put me against a pretty backdrop. But you're really like exploring things, I guess.
Yeah, I never really thought of it that way until we look back on stuff, especially with I Love You with Benji. That song I wrote during the pandemic and Benji choreographed it. And I knew that I wanted that sort of therapy session, especially within like the queer community. I think at that time I felt like therapy wasn't talked about enough, especially in the queer community,
right?
Between same-sex couples with a trans therapist.
Right.
I don't know. For me, like, it never felt like I was, I feel like I'm just recreating what's already in my life. Like and that speaks to me. I guess that's just like art imitating life for me. And, of course it's easy to get in front of a pretty background. I've done that too.
Yeah.
But I think as a songwriter, I write stuff that's like healing for me. If I'm going through it, when I write about it and I create visuals around it, like somehow it just heals me. And I think in turn that heals other people too. I mean, I think when I don't know, there's just so much that and to answer your question, does it feel risky? Not in the moment.
Right.
It always feels risky when it's about to come out to the world. Yeah. I get this way every time. My partner always laughs at this point because I go through this process every single fucking time. I'll get like, it'll be like the night before it's going to come out and we're laying in bed and I'm just like, okay, can I just do like a fear dump? And he's like, yeah, sure. Let's shoot. I'm like, all right. So I'm afraid that this is going to look so stupid. Everyone's going to think that I'm ridiculous. Like, here I go again, talking about real shit. Like, David, can't you just lighten up? You know, like, and the list goes on and on. I'm going to look terrible. The filter, I don't know. Like, even though I've reviewed everything and I have my hands on everything, I still fear the worst. Like, I catastrophize so much. And it's just part of what I do. And so, but it's always the night before. And then everything else after and before or after is like fine. Like, now the Beautiful 2.0 is out. I'm fine. But the night before, like Friday night, I was like, you know, what if Gaiety doesn't premiere correctly? Like, what if something goes wrong and there's like a glitch?
Yeah, all the things that can happen. Yeah.
But creating it always feels like such a relief. I will say this though. I think I build myself up to a point that's so unrealistic. Like, my expectations always are so unrealistic for me. Like, for anything, like, and so I try to manage my expectations, but it's just a really hard thing to do.
Yeah, no, especially if you put so much into it. The depictions in the video Vices about, you know, the party life and all of that stuff, like, that feels very, lived in, or like you, can you say a little bit more about that journey for you? And was there a moment where you're like, I've got to change, or like, how did I don't know. How did you decide to make that change?
Well, that was very lived in, sadly. I mean, I
guess what I mean by that is to depict it.
You have to like,
I don't feel like you would have made those choices if it was just something you would heard about in a magazine. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, I guess that's what I mean. Like, I don't think you make that video unless you can connect to it. Where there's this endless hotel party with all these people around and all these substances and, you know, a pill on your tongue. Like, I don't think you do that unless you've been through it in a way. Been
a part of that experience.
I think so.
Yeah.
You would have made other choices.
Totally. I mean, it's no secret now. Like, I have been to rehab for Xanax. I am in a 12-step program for alcohol. Hollywood was a lot of fun until it wasn't. Like, there's a lot. I had a lot of fun times drinking and drugging and just staying out until 7, 8 in the morning for days on end. Like, rubbing elbows with all the famous people and doing all the seemingly like cool stuff that you were supposed to do in your 20s and 30s and stuff. But there is a point where, like, you know, it becomes just problematic, and like your rest of your real life starts suffering for the choices that you're making. And while my life maybe didn't look like a whole dumpster fire to some people, it certainly was, like, at home and internally. Like, there was mental health issues I was definitely going through. There was a lot of like lonely nights of just like drinking by myself, you know, and a lot of that is tied to stuff that I hadn't really unpacked or like therapized in my adulthood that happened when I was a kid or a young teen. And I think with Vices, it was a lot of fun because at that time I wasn't really in a dark place. So it was fun to sort of like reenact that time. And the video makes it seem like, ooh, you're sexy and your skin looks all like, you know, sweat beads and, just a pill. And it's like, you know,
It has shades of Ricky Martin's She Bangs with the hands all over, you know.
Oh, yeah. I like that. And the chaise lounge that we're laying on.
Right.
And, you know, it's fun. But yeah, I mean, there's some dark experiences that were able to like be brought up from that experience. Like the tequila bottles passing out on that dirty motel, like bed, like that's definitely happened in my life. You know what I mean? You wake up and you're like, who are these fucking people? Like,
right.
I gotta go home, you know, and you take a cab or an Uber home or whatever. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't recommend it. Yeah. Let's just say that.
What have you discovered about yourself since you've gotten sober? Because I had a guest, a playwright on recently who talks about that and had a real journey with it. And he's like, I've learned all these things about myself. I didn't know I was such a nice person, or I didn't like he's discovered parts of himself that were always clouded by other things. I don't know if you relate to that.
I do. I didn't realize that I was such an introvert. I actually love being at home with my dog and my partner more than I like going out.
Right.
I didn't know that about myself. I thought I was the life of the party. Honestly, like I didn't know that I felt this way. Like I didn't know that I didn't like certain events. Like I don't like doing things I don't like to do, and I don't have to convince myself otherwise.
Right.
That's kind of that's a cool concept to finally realize. I also realized that I overthink literally everything, and that's a problem for me. And so I'm working on that. You know, I don't know. I have such an active brain. I didn't realize that also. And one of the things I realized too about like being sober is that the reason I started drinking anyway when I was a teenager, it was so that I didn't overthink like this. Like I remember my brother and my friends used to make fun of me because they'd be like, dude, like loosen up, man. Like you're so tense. You're so like, you know, don't you ever just live life? And so when I found my drink when I was 15 and I started drinking with my brother for the first time, it was like salvation. Right. You know, it was like, wow, like I can be cool and fucking get the girls and have all the friends. And like, all I got to do is have a couple of drinks and then I'm chill.
Yeah. It was a break. It was a safe space. Cause I think
it was.
Yeah. And I think as queer people, we're also kind of hyper vigilant and aware and like always trying to police ourselves. And that's another level of, you know, constantly being on or thinking about.
You're totally right. Yeah. I didn't even think about it that way, but that's true. If you're used to putting up a facade, I mean, it's, you know how it is. It's tiring. Like, but you have to be diligent about it. So people don't see cracks in the pavement. So yeah.
What was your coming out like with the people in your life?
I broke up with my first boyfriend. And so I remember calling my mom and being like, someone broke my heart. And she was like, what's her name, baby? And I said, Shane.
Fucking Shane. It's always a Shane. It's always a fucking Shane. That might be the name of this episode, by the way.
The album. It's always a fucking Shane. And so that's how she found out. But she always, I mean, listen, this was a lady that was buying me Barbies when I was 6 years old. You know, she was the same.
She knew.
She knew. And so then when I told my dad, it was like via my stepmom. And then my dad called and was like, well, I love you. I had a pretty easy coming out story, to be honest with you. And it kind of coincided with like American Idol, like 2 years after that. So there was a lot of like, I don't know. I think for my family, it was like, okay, sure, he's gay, but like he's doing big things, you know. So
it canceled each other out. I felt like so. That. Like I came out to my family when I was having my first book published, and it was kind of like, but it was this weird thing of like, here I was about to have this big achievement, and yet at the same time, I ran the risk of causing drama and family and being, you know, casted out. You know, it was weird. It was this mixed bag. That No, I get it. You had a video called Special, which I feel like you were paying homage to D'Angelo and how does it feel? And there was that little musical interlude. We lost D'Angelo.
I know. It was so sad. It was I thought it was unexpected. I didn't even know he was sick.
Yeah.
He kept that him and the family kept that under wraps, but yeah, that was an homage to D'Angelo, that whole song, really.
Yeah, I love the vibe in the video. Were you like, okay, I guess I'm going for this? Because I think that takes balls. Like, what was in your head as you were like, okay, I'm going to I'm going to try to recreate that or do an homage to that.
I was fresh off of my Naked Boys Singing musical theater show in Vegas.
Right.
And I remember scheduling a photo shoot with my photographer. And then I called my videographer who I had just shot Vices with.
Right.
And I was like, hey, I know you have a gig today, but are you perhaps in the downtown area? I have this idea to shoot a quick video. And he was like, I don't think I can make it. And like last minute, he was able to show up with his camera. We did that. And we shot that, I think, in less than an hour.
Wow. So it was
there wasn't really much wardrobe.
Yeah, that's for sure. You were naked. And this was Naked Boys Singing. I'm familiar with that show and I know some of the writers from it. Which track did you play? Like, what were your songs when you were doing that show?
They mixed it. They mixed it up. So I did Entertainer, Entertainer.
Right.
And then I also, oh my God, what else did I do? I basically did a bunch of different roles because they kind of tailored this show depending on the vocal abilities of everybody.
Right.
I forget exactly what other songs I did, but I definitely did the Entertainer. And then I had like a magic hat or like a top hat on, and it was fun. We did it for 6 months, and then I did it for 2 months off Broadway.
Yeah.
With Tom D'Angora. He was the producer for that one as well.
Yeah.
So
what did you like about doing that show? What was cool about it? Did you feel
it was funny?
Was it getting over the naked thing pretty easy for you, or was it like, okay, that's what this is?
It was pretty, I thought it was pretty easy. In retrospect, I had my apprehension for it, like in the first rehearsal and certainly like the first show.
Yeah.
But then after that, it's kind of just like, I was more worried about like the choreography and the lines, like remembering the lyrics. There's very wordy songs.
Right.
So I was more concerned with that than I was about being naked on stage. After the first like string of shows, you kind of get used to having your balls out.
Yeah.
And again, it goes back to what we talked about initially, which was like, you have to really be comfortable with all of your angles to do something like that.
Yeah. You're very fit, obviously. And like in the video for Special, we see that. Was that a gradual journey for you, or was there a moment where you're like, you know what, I'm gonna fucking go all in on this and make it part of my arsenal? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I've always I had a growth spurt when I was 21 working on a cruise ship because I used to be really, really skinny, and I had this growth spurt where this guy was like helping me work out on the cruise ship, and so I just kind of like once like my titties grew, I was like, oh, I want to get the rest of me in shape. Yeah. So that's one thing that stayed for me is my chest. Like no matter where my weight goes, like my chest always stays. But
that's lucky for you. I'm so fucking happy for you that that's your story. Fuck.
It is my story.
God
but
damn
trust me, God does not overbless. I have a lot of flaws. Trust me. But I knew I wanted to always like stay fit. But then after, like, when I got ready for the Naked Boys Singing thing, that was like a whole nother level. Like I went on, like, I learned how to cook. I went on like a proper diet.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of like, I don't know, I kept going with it, and I decided, I think I just want to be fit, make it a sustainable lifestyle. Yeah. I've never done steroids.
Yeah.
I've never done anything like that. Like, but I think it's just part of like being, for me, like being the entertainer that I am like as an actor and a singer. Like I just always want to feel healthy and fit, which is one of the reasons I got sober as well.
Yeah.
Cause I realized it was killing me. So as alcohol does.
Yeah. Did you notice that people would treat you differently after that, after you started sort of being in better shape and stuff like that? Was it gradual, or did you notice like, oh, they wouldn't have looked at me 3 months ago?
I noticed that I got a lot of attention in like my DMs when I started doing Naked Boys Singing, because my content started changing on my socials a lot. Like it was more like suggestive and like nudie. And I think people, it's like a whole nother like underworld of attention that you start to get. And then you get like people wanting like feet pics with dick pics and like, so I'm not sure it's the kind of attention that I wanted.
Right.
But you fuck around and you find out real quick.
It's
exactly.
I was listening to your YouTube channel and going through the videos and stuff. You did a cabaret where you sang all these musical theater pieces, and they were wonderful. And I sometimes ask singers this, but it may not resonate with you. What's your relationship to your voice? Does it feel like a gift? Does it feel like this thing that you have? Does it feel like something connected to something spiritual?
Yeah.
You know,
it feels like that. It feels like it's something. It feels like it's like an inner something. It feels like something you can't take away, which is wonderful. And I feel like it's not always meant to be marketable. It's not always meant for the masses. It's sometimes, I think its original intent was to guide me.
Yeah.
Honestly, really, like hand to God. Like I really think it was meant to save me in a lot of ways. And then I decided somewhere along the lines, or other people gave me the idea that, hey, you should put out some stuff so the rest of the world can see your gift. And now I look at it like it's a gift to be shared. But I think first and foremost, it has to be a gift for you and something that you like, that's precious and that you take care of. I don't think I always realized that. There's definitely been times where I've abused it, but I think it's special, and not everything. It kind of goes to like your personal life too. Like you don't want to share everything with the whole world, then it makes it like less precious.
Yeah.
You know,
that's interesting. When you say it sort of saved you, that singing kind of saved you when you were young, are you talking about when you were younger and finding yourself and dealing with your family life and all of that stuff?
Yeah. And even in my middle to late 30s and up until sobriety, and even in through sobriety, like I feel like it saved me. I think the fear of like losing my voice through the drinking and drugging for a long period of time got me out of that drinking and drugging, because I realized that like I could lose this ability if I keep destroying it. Well,
you look at somebody like Whitney Houston and you just think, gosh, what a tragedy, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, a lot of people really, there's a lot of people you could name that have over the years been overly medicated and have just like lost. I mean, there's like really sensitive tissues in there, and some are more sensitive than others. But yeah, there's definitely been periods of time where like the inflammation's been so bad from just like abusing it that like I couldn't sing or sustain.
Yeah. Yeah. But watching these clips of the cabaret when you were singing these shows, there was something sort of undeniable about your voice, like not a bum note, all this strength, all these sustained notes. I'm like, it's the kind of voice where if somebody says, I'm going to quit singing and go into real estate, everyone would be like, no, you can't. You can't. You have to. You can't not use that, right?
Yeah.
Did you ever feel like you have that? Okay, I've got to. I like you. You can't just not use it, right?
No, I agree. And I have like an interesting relationship with my ability, because sometimes I just want to like say fuck you,
right?
You know,
Whitney
and then
did.
Other times I'm like,
Whitney was like fucking over it.
I think she was over the business more than her gift, which then she inadvertently destroyed her gift, or people do that all the time where they don't mean to like hurt themselves, but they're trying to like, cut off your nose to spite your face type thing.
I mean, there's so many different themes in her story, and not really being able to be who she was, and just so many different things. But yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting, because that's such a sad story for me, because I watch her videos all the time. Yeah. Like just when she was like flying, I watched Mariah's too. Like when they were just like flying, and oh man, it's tragedy. But, I mean, Mariah's still here with us, so obviously that's not a tragedy, but like the Whitney Houston thing makes me sad. Yeah.
You play a lot of Pride Fests. I've seen some of the clips and things like that. When I was coming up, I used to do some performances at Prides way back in the day, singing and stuff like that. But I noticed that like the lesbians would support the lesbian singer, and the gay boys wanted to hear Deborah Cox. Like, do you know what I mean? We support our own in some ways, but not always. But those lesbians are out there for those Indigo girls. You better fucking believe it.
I know. I love lesbians. I have a special relationship with my lesbian friends. I love my lesies.
Yeah, good. But do you know what I'm talking about? Do you notice that in the crowds that come out to support you, or is that a dynamic that maybe is dated?
No, it's true. Like, I think I've been saying this for a long time, and I think Adam Lambert said it a few years ago too. Like, it's hard to get like gay audiences to support like gay men.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the time they want to see drag queens, or they want to see the divas like Deborah and, Cece. I mean, both of which are my friends. I love those women.
Right.
But yeah, it's, and I don't know
what's
what that
it about.
is.
I guess that's what I was wondering. Is like, what is it about?
I think it's a competition thing. I think gay men don't necessarily love seeing like other gay men on stage doing what they think that they could possibly do better.
It has to do with the way they feel about themselves in some way.
Maybe the way they feel about themselves too.
I can't put my finger on it either, but it's an interesting thing. But when you see the contrast sometimes in those settings, it's an interesting thing. How do you write your songs? Are you a lyrics guy first? Do you sit at a piano? How do you do it?
I don't sit at a piano, but it depends. I'll either write my lyrics first or I'll record it into my voice notes. And then, there's three ways. So I can write the lyrics on my laptop or my notebook, or I'll record like a melody in my voice note and then write it out later. Or I'll sit with a musician and we'll come up with it together. Like for Feel It All, which is my release this past September, I sat with Trent Park, my producer, and we basically wrote that from scratch together. I mean, I did come up with a melody on the treadmill that I then like sang for him in person, but then he played chords underneath that, and then we built the track underneath the melody that I came up with at the gym.
Yeah. I love that you were inspired on the treadmill.
Always.
Was it that thing of like, I got to get this in my voice notes before I forget it?
I always have ideas when I'm walking or running.
Right. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine that I think you probably know is Matt Zarley. Do you know Matt? I think he did some benefits or something with you. I told him I was interviewing you.
Yeah.
But
totally.
He produces a lot and records a lot of stuff, and he's just started using AI, and he's like, Dennis, this shit, the string thing it came up with for this song, it would have taken me years to figure that out or whatever. Do you use it? Have you started using it?
Like auto-tune? Or
AI, like here's a scratch vocal and a guitar track, add strings, go. 5 minutes later, they're like, here it is. Like,
no, but I have friends that have used, I think it's, what is it? Sumo.
Yeah, that's the one he was talking about. He says it's
I have not used
mind-blowing.
it yet, but like I've heard it. Like my friend Thea Austin, she demos some stuff, and she played me a couple of demos of like two songs she wrote, one of which was for Boy George, and I was like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
I haven't used it myself yet though.
It's crazy.
I do know Matt actually. I know Matt really well. Like he's a theater boy on Broadway and stuff like that. Yeah. He
was excited I was talking to you. He said you're very nice. So
tell him I said hi. I haven't talked to him in so long.
There you go. The Feel It All, you write about being sober and wanting to experience everything, feel everything. And you make this video. It's beautiful with these different folks in it. A few of them I recognize. Has there been response from people in that community to that song particularly?
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean,
what's it been like?
Oh, so good. Like the West Hollywood Recovery Center, like endorsed the video along with like 4 other big organizations. They're like the Trans Latino Organization, Gay and Sober Organization, the 988 Suicide Hotline. There was like 5 major people, but yeah, like the response has just been, thank you, like for putting my emotions into like words.
Yeah.
It was interesting because like I released a video in September and I still have people that are discovering it now for the first time.
Yeah.
Which I think is the beauty and the curse of the internet is that it lives forever. Yeah. But, it's been, I mean, again, like it's one of those that I wrote for self-therapy and it ended up helping other people. So that was kind of the goal though. I was hoping that would happen and I'm glad it did.
Yeah, well, it's very vivid and it's beautifully depicted, and the lyrics and all of that stuff.
Thank you.
Just want to touch base on one thing we talked about earlier. You know, you talk about Idol, and then that sort of blew up, and then you kind of, I can imagine being a little bit lost for a while. What do you feel kind of got you back going? Was there a moment where you felt like, okay, I found my footing, I can keep moving forward? Was there an opportunity that came along, or what kind of helped you get up after that?
Well, that particular year, Michael Orland, like, so that ended, I think I want to say like May of 2008, right? The finale.
Probably.
And then I was kind of couch surfing. I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I got a call from Michael Orland and he was like, hey, I want you to meet my really good friend, Scott Stander. Come to his house. I want you to just chat. And I was like, oh, okay, like, what are we going to chat about? We can't chat over the phone about. He's like, no, I want him to hear you sing live. And I was like, okay. So I went to Michael's house. He had a piano and I just started singing. And Scott was like, I think you should come on this 30 city tour. And I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, it would be Diana DeGarmo, Kimberly Locke, and Chikizi from your season, and we'd like you to be the fourth. And I was like, oh my God. So there was the money that I was missing, right? From not making the tour.
Right.
Even though, it was, so I think I remember, that was like a $30,000 tour. And I had never seen that kind of money in my life, like in a month. And that just like reignited that fire in me that, okay, not all was lost.
It's a safety net. Like you've landed on something. And I love hearing that story. And I know Michael, so that's really cool to hear.
And Michael and I have written together too. We wrote my song Sorry together.
Lovely.
In like 2019. And I wrote it with Carrie Underwood in mind, but then the pandemic hit. And so I just released it myself with like an R&B beat on it. But Michael's always been a constant throughout my life. And we reconnected. Like we had a few years where we didn't really speak, and then we reconnected, and we're really great. We don't have to talk every day, but like I'll never forget the opportunity that he gave me, not only on the show, like I think too, like he was, he knew that I was gay, and he knew that I needed like love and support. And so he was just there to like always encourage and like, no, honey, you got this. You'd listen.
Yeah.
Focus, and I remember being on the road, and I would like have, glasses of wine occasionally. He'd be like, just watch it. Just watch the drinking,
right.
Before I even had an issue with drinking. Like he just like, he looks out for your health and your well-being. And so he gave me that opportunity, and he's presented other opportunities since then throughout my career. Even this panto that I did with Bonnie Lithgow, Nigel Lithgow's ex-wife. Like I did this, a Cinderella. It was like a Cinderella Christmas or something like that. I did with Shoshana Bean. I love Shoshana Bean. That's my girl. And so, you get these people throughout your life that just throw you like, like bones here, and
like a fairy godmother almost, like that just kind of sprinkles.
Sprinkles love.
I just have a few more questions. I was thinking about that time that you were on Idol, and I watched the other reality shows like So You Think You Can Dance, and sometimes there was a vibe from the producers that they weren't that cool with the guys that were a little effeminate. Like on So You Think, they always wanted them to butch it up or whatever. I feel like that's changed a lot since then.
My God.
But was there a vibe of like, oh, we don't like that kind of boy. We like this kind of boy. Did you sense that, or was it more just like you were just kind of used to trying to fit in?
I was so hyper focused on not being overly effeminate and not and the world not knowing that I was gay, because I had a boyfriend at the time.
Right.
And I was told by like the industry people, not even so much by Idol, but like other industry people, including my manager at the time, like, don't talk about your boyfriend. Don't talk about your sexuality. Like everyone needs to know that you are just like attainable by women and men, don't ever say you're taken.
Right.
So I never really experienced that. A better person to ask that question would maybe be like, Adora Delano. 'Cause, Adora Delano before the transition was Danny Noriega, who was on my season.
Yeah.
And I think his experience and relationship with Idol was very different than mine. And maybe, who knows if I don't want to speak for her, but that could have been, I don't know, it was a very different time.
Yeah.
Very different time. Yeah.
Talk to me just a little bit about acting. I know you were in a movie called Glamping, and you talk about like being into that. How does it feed you in a way that maybe music doesn't?
Well, I mean, I started off acting and singing at the same time when I was 6, right? The Canterville Ghost musical theater. I always was a little actor, a little showboat. Like I've loved being an actor my whole life. Music took off first for me, so I didn't really get a chance to explore that side. And I've been in acting class for like 12 years. I would just like go in between my tour dates and stuff. And my coach is always like, David, you really got something. Like if you just buckle down. I'm like, how do you tell me to buckle down? I'm on tour. Like, I can't, I don't have time for this. But I think after a lot of reflection and a lot of just like seeing the potential, I just gave it like 100,000% a year and a half ago. And honestly, like since I did that, I've done 17 vertical movies. I did the feature film. I've done an independent feature, short. And I just shot my first gay vertical last month that just came out a couple weeks ago. So I love it. Like it's really nice for me to not always put all my weight on being a singer, a successful singer. And to know that even if I don't do that the way that I imagined it, that I still have this and I have this and I have this. Like my worth isn't wrapped up anymore in just like that sort of fleeting accolade of being at the top of my game as that singer. And to be honest, like the expectation I had for myself when I was younger, I haven't even come close to that. Like, it's just such an unreasonable thing, you know, to be the number one pop star in the world.
You
like,
had really big dreams, really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of just like, you know, morphed into like things that are more realistic and attainable. It's not that I don't think that I can ever achieve a Grammy or those, because I still very much would love those things. And I still love music like I loved it when I was 6. But I do realize that like there's other avenues in this industry to succeed and be so, you know, great in that fulfill me as a human being. Yeah. So,
and you gotta you gotta do a little of everything. It, like the way that everything, the business is shaped now. You're like
J-Lo. I want to be like J-Lo. Listen,
there it is.
You know, but Glamping was really cool because that was my first feature film ever. And I played the serial killer. And that was,
how many people do you kill?
4.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think anything less than that isn't really, It's a start. It's a start. Good luck with it. It's a good start with serial killing.
I hope I kill more in my next one.
What's the name of the gay vertical?
It's called Your Hired Billionaire Callboy.
And which one are you?
I play a straight man.
Interesting.
I know.
That's the walls are all falling apart. Those verticals are those like 2-minute things that people watch on their phones, and they're very big business, and lots of people are
huge business, and people don't realize it is. We are shooting a full movie in 8 to 10 days, and then they just break the movie up into episodes. Like you said, 2 minutes. There's like 60 some episodes, and but it's like, but we are shooting full feature films in like a fraction of the time.
I love it. All right. I have one more question for you, but just tell people where they can find you. If you've got anything coming up you want to mention. The song that just dropped, the video is Beautiful 2.0. It's fun. It's cool. And you were roommates with your co-star, right? For a while in New York? Mila. Yeah.
Me and Mila Jam. It was like the blizzard year. It was the end of 2014 into 2015. We lived in Harlem together, 108th and Madison, baby. Yeah. And we were both, you know, hustling on, you know, going. I really wasn't working then. She was doing whatever I think she had a job at the time, but we were both, you know, had these dreams to be fully on tour, be artists full time. And like, look at us now, you know, it's kind of cool. And when I reached out, she was like the first person that came to mind when I thought about the message of Beautiful. And like, she's such a great artist, and she's an activist, and she's a singer songwriter herself, and she's authentic. And, you know, her being this, you know, at the forefront of the trans community. And I just felt like it would just made sense. And she's funny as fuck. Like, people don't know this, but Mila's hilarious. Like we laugh so hard. She's great. And this video came out better than I would have ever expected. And she showed up and she showed out.
Yeah. And it dropped on Valentine's Day. How was your Valentine's? Did you do anything special?
Chill. Yeah. I went on a hike. I had a workout. I watched the video and how it was received. I'm still checking up on it. I actually haven't posted anything since the video because I felt like I flooded my timeline then. Right. So I want to give people a chance to breathe. They're probably like, Jesus, David, we get it. Beautiful's out. I'm like, but do you? So I'll post again. But the video, I love the video. I love the message. It was dropped 10 years ago, you know, and it's very different video concept then. And I just wanted people to like not compare and just to see it for what it is and love it and
not be so hard on themselves, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
So your Instagram is David Hernandez Music?
My Instagram's at D Hernandez Music.
Okay.
Same thing with my like Twitter threads. And then I'm not really active I'm on Facebook, but who's on Facebook really? Yeah. And then my website is officialdavidhernandez.com.
There it is. Final question. What do you think your younger version of yourself would think of where you are now? Like maybe think of you as when you felt the most lost or the most, I don't know what's ahead for me, or like, what do you think that kid would make of this life you have now?
I think he'd be really proud. And he would feel super safe knowing that he'd end up here eventually.
That's really cool. That's really beautiful. Yeah. All right. This has been a blast.
Thank you
for taking the time, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay. Keep in touch. Bye.
Thanks again to David Hernandez. Go check out his video, Beautiful 2.0. It's really fun, catchy tune, total jam. And keep an eye out for all the other things he has going on. All right, so this happened. As I mentioned in a previous podcast, I believe I've started a new job at Disney, working in the visual comms department, and I'm loving it so far. And once in a while, I've already noticed that like fun things will come up that are going on the lot. And they had the Simpsons 800th episode celebration. And so there was this kind of cool photo op thing that the employees could go take pictures in front of. And it's like Homer's coming out of the hedge, and you got to come out of the hedge. And my friend Robert and I walked over and took some fun photos. And it's just like reminding me that Simpsons have been around forever. Like I remember when I first moved to LA, Tracy Ullman was on, and I loved that show. And I remember having a t-shirt. Somebody worked on the show and I got a Tracy Ullman t-shirt, but that's where The Simpsons began. This feels like a lifetime ago. And then in the movie Basic Instinct, there's a Bart Simpson keychain. I wrote about Basic Instinct in my 2002 book Screening Party. And when that moment comes up where you see the Bart Simpson keychain, I was like, The Simpsons have been around forever. I wrote that as a line in the book in 2002. 24 years ago, I remarked that The Simpsons have been around forever. So, I don't know. To talk about staying power, man. And I think a lot of people have enjoyed those shows, and a lot of people that worked on them have done very well. So, there you go. Long live The Simpsons. And I think that's enough for this week. I want to give a shout out to Oscar Rosario for mixing the episodes. My theme music is by Mark Daniels for Placement Music. Catch you next time on Dennis Anyone. Bye.